How much do you weigh? Seems like a simple question, but it can be controversial, especially for a lot of women and men out there. But it turns out a lot of people don't know what that number truly is. In one study, they looked at 23,500 overweight or obese individuals. They found that only 17% of the women and 39% of the men estimated their weight accurately. Most of them were underestimating how much they weighed and were categorizing themselves as a healthier or normal weight as compared to what their body mass index might represent. And so the authors of this study went into a lot of conversations about why this may be. You know, number one, when you live in a day and time where 2/3 of the individuals in our country are overweight or obese, well, that becomes normal. If you're living in a time where, let's say, 7 out of 10 people are overweight or obese, and that is the norm, of course you're going to, I think you're going to underestimate. I think you're going to look around and say, well, yeah, I'm normal weight. I weigh the same as my neighbor, and I think that's a big part of it. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on this.
Well, I think one other interesting aspect is when you underestimate your weight, apparently you're 85% less likely to try and lose weight, even if for your health or for other medical reasons, it's a really, really good idea to do so. If you're diabetic or you have heart disease, if you kind of in your mind have this sense that you're doing okay, you're much less likely to take action. And so I think that's the really concerning part about how many people really don't have an accurate sense of how much they weigh. But I agree with you, it's all relative, right? You walk around west side of LA, you're gonna think you're obese, and then you go to other parts of the country and you're like, wow, I'm okay, I'm pretty healthy. So I think when you're surrounded by people who look a certain way, that becomes normal to you.
It's surroundings that influence your thinking.
And I think we all need to be a little careful to not obsess about the number on a scale, because one of the other things we've learned is that there are other measurements that are probably more important, like your waist circumference. In general, in men, we always say make sure that waist circumference is below 40 inches, women 35 inches. There are other ways than just looking at the number on the scale. But I do think it is important to have a legitimate sense for, okay, am I in a dangerous category when it comes to my health? And if most individuals are not even aware and physicians aren't having the conversation, then that is a problem from a health perspective.
And part of this study, they were commenting on sizes. Isn't it, in fact, that sizes are changing?
Yeah, so there's a lot more vanity sizing, where sizes that used to be higher numbers are now being made lower numbers. So where you used to be a size 12, now that's suddenly become a size 8. And that makes you feel really good about yourself, even though you haven't actually changed your size.
And that's where the study author said, well, that's the problem. And I don't know whether that's it or not, but yeah, if you're changing sizes without actually letting people know that, yeah, you'd be fooled. Wait, I'm a size 8 now.
Well, I don't know if you can throw that entire industry of body positivity under the bus. I'm not really sure that that's a reasonable justification.
I agree.
But I do think that having a false sense of complacency is really detrimental.
It's kind of
to
denial.
Your health. Yeah, it's a denial.
You're putting your health at risk on so many different fronts.
I think everyone should have a conversation with their physician, because usually when you go get a physical exam, you're going to get a number of parameters measured. And I worry, because we do obsess so much about the number on the scale, but talk to your doctor. When you combine everything, whether it be your blood pressure, your heart rate, your weight combined with your height and waist circumference, talk through with your doctor and say, hey, what would be a reasonable goal for me to be a little bit healthier, if that's something that you're interested in? Because far too often, the one thing I will say, even as doctors, is it can be an uncomfortable conversation to have, and a lot of doctors do not even broach the subject of weight because they're uncomfortable doing so. And if someone's weight is potentially putting their health at risk, at least the conversation needs to be had.